On November 12, 2021, 19-year-old Ashley Wadsworth left Canada and flew to the UK to meet her boyfriend, the guy she had fallen for online. Ashley was over the moon. After years of talking online, she was finally going to see him in real life. But no one could have imagined that this happy reunion would end in tragedy. Ashley Wadsworth was born on July 25, 2002 in Vernon, a small city in British Columbia, Canada. She was the daughter of Kenneth Wadsworth and Christy Gendron, and had a beloved older sister named Haley. The Wadsworth family was big and close-knit. Over 50 people, including cousins, uncles, aunts, and extended relatives. Most of them lived in the same community. Ashley was full of life, outgoing, energetic, and always smiling. People were naturally drawn to her, and she had a lot of friends. She loved the outdoors. Swimming, horseback riding, and skiing were some of her favorite activities. Ashley also played tennis and had a passion for music, especially the clarinet. She was also very active on social media, constantly sharing memes, jokes, and snapshots of her life. It was on social media where Ashley first met Jack Sepple. Their online connection began back in 2015. She was just 12 and he was 15. Jack was born on January 9, 1999. His mother, Tracy Dalton, was married to a man named Ricky. As for his father, who passed away in 2019, reports say their relationship had been strained. Jack didn't speak to his brother Jordan, but he did stay in touch with his sister Nadia. Aside from his mother and sister, Jack didn't have many close connections. He preferred to interact with people online, mostly through video games and social media. According to people who knew Jack, he often got into trouble at school. While some remembered him as funny, charming, and loud, others spoke of a darker side that surfaced when he got angry, lashing out at himself and those around him. It was actually one of Ashley's friends, someone who had been talking to Jack online, who introduced the two. Like many teenagers, Ashley saw nothing unusual about connecting with strangers online. Whether they shared common interests or were simply drawn to each other, starting a virtual friendship felt completely natural. Ashley and Jack quickly became online friends. Back then, Ashley didn't have a smartphone. To get on social media, she used the family computer, so her friendship with the British boy was never a secret to her family. According to Ashley's mother, during their long-distance friendship, Jack dated several other girls, and Ashley too went through the typical ups and downs of teenage life. Even during the times when they stopped talking for a while, the connection between them never completely faded. They stayed in touch, on and off, for years. As Ashley and Jack grew older, their relationship began to change. They started talking not just through social media but over video calls too. That brought them closer, and their relationship grew more intimate and romantic. Soon, Jack became a familiar face to Ashley's family. If someone walked by while the two were on a call, they'd often say hello, like he was actually sitting there in their living room. He also sent her gifts more than once. Stuffed bears, handbags, little things to make her smile. According to Ashley's family, she would compare every boy she met to Jack. Because of the 8-hour time difference between Vernon and Essex, where Jack lived, the two would wake up too early or stay up way too late, just to talk to each other. In 2018, when Ashley was 15, she started talking seriously about meeting Jack in person, but her family wouldn't let her travel alone to another continent. Like most couples, they argued from time to time, and when Ashley blocked Jack on social media after a fight, he'd create new accounts or message her through his sister or mutual friends. To her loved ones, it felt obsessive and alarming. But Ashley insisted Jack was kind and caring at heart. In October 2018, Jack had Ashley's name tattooed on his arm. At the time, Ashley was 16 and Jack was 19. To her parents, the tattoo felt like too much too soon. They warned her to be careful and told her not to even think about doing the same. Not long after, during one of their fights, Jack cut into the tattoo of Ashley's name on his arm. It was a turning point. He began showing signs of jealousy and cruelty. He would get angry if he thought Ashley was seeing other guys, even though he himself kept dating other girls. Still, he insisted Ashley was his favorite, saying she was the only one he truly needed. One day, a girl who was at Jack's house called Ashley and said he wouldn't let her leave. According to a friend who witnessed the call, Ashley seemed unfazed, like she had gotten used to hearing things like that. She just told Jack to stop acting crazy. Ashley never mentioned the incident to her parents, but she did tell her friends. They urged her to cut off all contact with him. Despite the constant fights and Jack's troubling behavior, the two always made up. Ashley was just 18, and she had known Jack since she was a young teen. But it seemed she didn't fully grasp how deeply he was manipulating her. At a young age, Ashley began working in fast food restaurants and department stores. It allowed her to save up money for things she enjoyed. The first thing she bought was a tablet so she could use social media more privately. After that, she started saving up for something bigger, a trip. In her final year of high school, Ashley, who had always been a spiritual and curious soul, read the Book of Mormon and had what she described as a moment of awakening. From that point on, she began following the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. In 2020, Ashley graduated from Seton Secondary School. She planned to study law at Thompson Rivers University and become a lawyer, but she didn't enroll right away. Because of the COVID pandemic, classes were held online. Ashley wanted the full experience of being part of a real campus community. So Ashley decided to take a gap year before continuing her studies. In the first half of 2021, she kept working and saving money. Then in April of that same year, she was baptized into the Mormon faith. That's when Ashley, always brave and headstrong, made up her mind to go to the UK to finally meet Jack in person and spend his birthday with him. Her parents and friends weren't thrilled about the idea, but there was no stopping her. She had her own money, and she was legally an adult. On November 12, 2021, Ashley left Canada for the UK on a 6-month tourist visa. It was the first time she had ever left her home country, and she was beyond excited. Ashley and Jack met in person for the first time on November 13, 2021. That same day, Ashley changed her profile picture to one of the two of them together. By that time, Jack was 22, and he looked much older than Ashley. His body was covered in tattoos, even his face. The contrast between him and the bright, cheerful 19-year-old girl was hard to miss. While in London, Ashley stayed at Jack's place. Since 2020, he had been living alone in an annex attached to a public housing complex in northwest Chelmsford. The neighborhood had a rough reputation, but the couple spent time exploring nicer parts of town in Essex. Jack seemed like the same guy Ashley had fallen for online, affectionate and caring. He showered her with compliments and never said no to a romantic selfie. But at the same time, he was unpredictable and could be cruel. They were together every day. Ashley, on a tourist visa, wasn't allowed to work. Jack was unemployed, living off government benefits and occasionally leaning on his mother, Tracy, who lived nearby. Ashley made sure to regularly post photos and updates from her trip. In most of the pictures, she and Jack were cuddling, clearly having fun and enjoying romantic moments together. She stayed in touch with her family through video calls. From the outside, everything seemed to be going just fine. They even took in a kitten and named him Winston. But over time, Jack began to withdraw. He no longer wanted to go out or explore the city. Instead, he spent his days at home, smoking illegal substances and playing video games. Being in a foreign country, Ashley couldn't do much on her own. Even though she loved being outside, her days were limited by whatever Jack felt like doing. Before her trip to England, one of Ashley's church friends connected her with a group of American missionaries who would be in Chelmsford at the same time. Ashley was excited to meet them and build friendships with people who shared her faith. But Jack wouldn't let her attend church on Sundays. Still, Ashley stayed in touch with the missionaries through text messages. To keep Jack from finding out, she would delete the conversations after they spoke. Her new church friends quickly noticed something was off. They sensed Jack was controlling her and possibly being abusive. When she opened up to them about her situation, Ashley admitted she knew she deserved better, but all she really wanted was for Jack to be happy. The abuse didn't stop at controlling who she talked to. It went deeper than that. About 6 weeks after Ashley arrived, Jack messaged his mother, confessing that he had beaten Ashley. The reason? He discovered that she had blocked 2 UK phone numbers years ago and convinced himself they belonged to other men. It triggered a violent fit of jealousy. Though Ashley kept posting seemingly perfect photos from her trip on her public social media, she had secretly created a private account where she began documenting her bruises. Ashley didn't hide the abuse from her sister Haley, but she warned her not to tell their mom. If she did, Ashley said she'd cut off contact. She didn't want her family to hate Jack. At the end of December 2021, Jack took an excessive amount of anti-anxiety medication. Ashley called an ambulance and Jack was rushed to the hospital, where he received treatment for the overdose. After that incident, Ashley was made Jack's caretaker. She took on the responsibility of managing his medication safely. She didn't tell her mom or friends about it, but Haley accidentally let the secret slip. Naturally, her mother was worried and begged Ashley to come home, but Ashley insisted on staying. She wanted to make sure Jack got better first. In early January 2022, another violent incident occurred. Jack smashed a beer glass over Ashley's head. Crying, Ashley called her sister over video chat, while Jack forced her to clean up the broken glass. In the background, Haley could see Jack pacing, yelling, clenching his jaw. She begged Ashley to come home, but it didn't work. On the 9th of that same month, Jack celebrated his 23rd birthday as if nothing had happened, surrounded by his family and Ashley. Shortly after that, Jack's mother and her husband organized a family trip to a small seaside town. They hoped that a change of scenery might help ease the tension. In the photos, everything looked so perfect that even Ashley's parents, unaware of how serious things really were, breathed a sigh of relief. Their daughter looked calm, happy. But that sense of calm didn't last. During an argument in late January, Jack hit Ashley again. He also threw a candle and a TV remote at her, right in the middle of a video call with Haley, who was once again begging her sister to come home. At first, Ashley agreed, but soon after, she changed her mind. She believed that somewhere deep inside this violent man was still the charming boy she had known for so many years. Ashley prayed that time, medication, or maybe her love, would heal him. Based on conversations with his mother, it seemed Jack knew the cycle he had trapped Ashley in. He accused her of cheating, hurt her, and then apologized. And while he may have felt guilty for what he was doing, it wasn't enough to stop the tragedy that was coming. On the morning of February 1st, 2022, Jack once again lost his temper with Ashley, accusing her of planning to leave him and of secretly seeing other people behind his back. He even demanded to see her phone, insisting on checking all of her social media accounts. Just before 8 in the morning, Helen Bortonshaw, Jack's neighbor, heard Ashley screaming through the shared wall. Minutes later, she showed up at his door. When the door opened, Helen saw Ashley, barefoot, in tears and bleeding from a cut on her palm. Ashley told her that Jack had caught her looking at a photo of a naked woman and flew into a rage. He verbally abused her, then hit her. He smashed her phone and even threw her kitten against the wall. Even though Ashley feared Jack was trying to kill her, she begged Helen not to call the police. Helen agreed, but pleaded with Ashley to come with her to see a doctor instead of going back to the apartment. Ashley refused, so Helen went to speak with Jack. He calmly apologized for what had happened, and Helen left to attend her own medical appointment. Around 9 in the morning, another neighbor, Lucy, brought Jack a package that had been mistakenly delivered to her address. He was reluctant to open the door, but Lucy didn't think much of it. She already knew Jack to be unfriendly and paranoid. Around that same time, Ashley called her family using Jack's phone. It was midnight in Vernon. By that time, Ashley's mother already knew what had been going on with Jack because Haley couldn't keep it in any longer. She had finally told her everything. Her parents immediately bought her a return ticket for February 3rd. When Ashley told Jack she was leaving in 2 days, he agreed to go with her for the required COVID test, and even said he would drive her to the airport. Ashley's mother told her that if Jack laid a hand on her again, she needed to go straight to the airport. She also warned Jack directly. If he ever hurt her daughter again, she would call the police. Ashley's call with her family lasted nearly 3 hours. By the time they finally hung up, it was 11 in the morning in Chelmsford, and 3 in the morning back in Vernon. A few minutes later, Jack texted his mother, admitting that he had once again violently attacked Ashley. He said he had thrown her to the floor and might have broken her arm. Between 11:22 and 12:38, Ashley sent several messages to her family and friends using Jack's phone. But since it was the middle of the night back home, no one responded. She also messaged her church friends in Chelmsford, asking for help and warning them that she was in an emergency situation. Tragically, those messages weren't seen until hours later, when it was already too late. Between 12:38 and 12:45, Jack attacked Ashley, strangling her until she stopped breathing. Then he went to the kitchen, grabbed a knife about 11 centimeters long and stabbed Ashley nearly 100 times in the chest and abdomen. After ending his girlfriend's life in such a brutal way, Jack went on with his day. Later, he changed his profile picture to a photo of himself with Ashley, captioned with the words, "Always mine." Then he recorded a video addressed to Haley. In it, he said he loved Ashley, that he was sorry, but he couldn't let her go. He claimed his mind wasn't working right. In the video, which was never sent, Ashley's lifeless body could be seen next to him. While all of this was unfolding in England, Ashley's family was just waking up back in Vernon. Seeing the flood of messages Ashley had sent, her family immediately called James Ashworth, a Mormon friend of theirs living in Chelmsford. Jamie and Tyler Borden, another friend from church, went to Jack's apartment. They knocked on the door but got no answer, so they called the police and left. At the same time, Ashley's best friend back in Vernon noticed that Ashley was active on social media. In a panic, she sent her a message. On the other end, it was Jack, pretending to be Ashley. He told her friend that he had sent the messages because he needed help getting to a COVID test, that it wasn't necessary anymore. Messages from Ashley's loved ones kept pouring in, but Jack ignored them. Everyone was desperately trying to hear from her. Finally, Jack called his sister Nadia. When she answered, he confessed to killing Ashley, and even showed her the body. It was around 4:13 in the afternoon when police officers responding to Jamie's call entered the apartment. Even though it took them just 10 minutes to arrive, it was already too late. Police arrested Jack at the scene. He was covered in blood. Jack told the officers he had suffered a psychotic episode and admitted to the crime. After that, he was taken to a prison facility in Chelmsford. The trial was scheduled for September 7, 2022, at the Chelmsford Crown Court. Toxicology reports showed that Jack had only trace amounts of mild illegal substances in his system, along with a small dose of anti-anxiety medication. Additionally, a psychiatric evaluation confirmed that the defendant was mentally fit to stand trial and give testimony. The evidence against Jack was overwhelming. It included a video recording of his own confession. He pled guilty right away, and the judge told him there was only one possible sentence given his admission: life in prison. On the day of the hearing at Chelmsford Crown Court, presided over by Judge Edward Murray, Prosecutor Simon Spence read aloud details of Jack's criminal record, dating back to his teenage years. It was during that hearing that Ashley's parents finally learned who their daughter's boyfriend truly was. Starting in 2014, Jack had multiple run-ins with the law. He had been arrested several times for stalking a girl, kidnapping, unlawful confinement, and violent assaults. He had also been issued multiple restraining orders, including ones involving his own mother and a former girlfriend. Ashley's parents were devastated to learn about the criminal past of the man who had taken their daughter's life. During the hearing, the prosecution and defense exchanged views regarding a letter Jack had sent to Ashley's family from prison, expressing remorse for what he had done. After the hearing, Judge Murray allowed the letter to be released to the media, citing the principle of open justice. In the letter, addressed to Ashley's entire family but especially to her mother and sister Haley, Jack admitted that no matter what he said or did, nothing could ever bring Ashley back or take away the pain they were feeling. Expressing regret for his actions, Jack told them they already knew about his mental health because he had been open about it with Ashley. He added that his condition had deteriorated rapidly, and while that was no excuse, the obsessive thoughts had deeply affected his thinking and behavior. Given the long history of violence presented by the prosecution and Jack Sepple's own guilty plea, he was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 23 years. Ashley trusted the wrong person and it cost her everything. If her story moved you, share it. Let her voice be heard. Subscribe to Unsealed Files for more cases that must be told.